Hi, this is Ophoria, the digital reader. One thing I've always been passionate about, besides showing you how to pull DRM from your books, is finding great reads that are completely legit, DRM-free, and affordable. And honestly, there's no better price than free. That's why I'm such a big fan of Project Gutenberg. I donate to them every month because I really believe in what they're doing, making incredible classic books available to everyone without DRM, ads, and completely free. The books I'm going to recommend aren't just ones I think you should rush to read right away. Instead, I suggest you add them to your collection. Since they're DRM free, they're yours to keep forever. Whenever you feel like exploring, you can open up one and see what people were thinking about 100 years ago and realize how much their ideas still connect with us today. So each month I'll be recommending 10 classic books to add to your library. Let's get started. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This novel is told by Nick Carraway, a young man who rents a small house on Long Island in the summer of 1922. Next door lives Jay Gatsby, a wealthy man famous for throwing huge parties that attract guests from across New York. Across the bay, Nick's cousin Daisy Buchanan lives with her husband Tom. Gatsby's fortune and mysterious past center on his connection to Daisy, and Nick becomes the link between them. As the summer unfolds, Nick observes the world of wealth, excess, and shifting loyalties that define the age. The story follows Gatsby's pursuit of an ideal and the illusions that drive those around him. Moby-Dick by Herman Melville. Narrator Ishmael signs on to a whaling voyage aboard the Pequod, commanded by Captain Ahab. The diverse crew sails from Nantucket in search of whales and profit, but Ahab has another goal: to find and confront Moby-Dick, a giant white whale that once maimed him. The journey takes them across distant seas, encountering other ships, harsh weather, and the daily work of whaling. Ishmael describes ship life, the ocean's dangers, and the mystery of the whale itself. The voyage becomes both an adventure and a search for understanding in a world ruled by chance, nature, and human obsession. Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. An aging country gentleman named Alonso Quixano reads so many tales of knights and quests that he decides to become a knight himself. Taking the name Don Quixote, he puts on an old suit of armor, renames his horse Rocinante, and sets out to restore chivalry. His neighbor Sancho Panza joins him as a squire, hoping for reward and adventure. Together they travel through Spain, encountering farmers, innkeepers, travelers, and nobles. Don Quixote sees the world as a place of magic and challenge, while others see ordinary reality. Their travels form a series of linked adventures that explore how imagination and belief shape the way people live and see the world. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. The story centers around Elizabeth Bennet, one of 5 daughters in a family of modest means in rural England. Her mother is eager to see all her daughters married well. When wealthy newcomers arrive in the area, Charles Bingley and his friend Fitzwilliam Darcy, the Bennet family becomes involved in new social circles and tensions. Elizabeth's wit and independence often clash with Darcy's pride, while misunderstandings and family pressures complicate matters. Around them, other courtships unfold, revealing the economic and social limits placed on women and families. The novel follows how first impressions can shift as characters learn more about each other and about themselves. Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Set in 19th century Russia, the novel begins with a family scandal and introduces Anna Karenina, a respected woman who arrives in Moscow to help her brother. There, she meets a young officer, and their growing connection draws her into conflict with society's expectations. A second story follows landowner Konstantin Levin, who searches for purpose in his work and relationships. The narrative moves between the city's high society and the countryside's slower rhythms, showing intersecting lives that deal with love, duty, and belief. Through these parallel paths, the novel examines how people balance personal happiness with moral and social responsibility. War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Set during the Napoleonic Wars of the early 1800s, War and Peace follows several Russian families as their lives intersect through love, politics, and war. The main figures include Pierre Buzikov, an awkward heir searching for purpose, Prince Andrei Bolkonsky, a soldier disillusioned by battle, and Natasha Rostov, a young woman navigating romance and growing up amid upheaval. As France invades Russia, the story shifts between the battlefield and domestic life, showing how individuals respond to the vast events around them. The novel explores not just the military campaigns, but also daily existence, marriage, family, and personal change. It moves from drawing rooms to war camps, revealing how private choices connect to the movements of history. Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. The story follows Rodion Raskolnikov, a poor farmer student living in St. Petersburg. Struggling with poverty and pride, he believes that some people are above moral law if their actions serve a greater purpose. This belief drives him to test his theory through a desperate act. As the story unfolds, Raskolnikov isolates himself, haunted by guilt and fear. Around him are people also trapped by hardship, his mother and sister who depend on him, a kind young woman forced into difficult choices, and a police investigator who begins to suspect him. Through their interactions, the novel traces Raskolnikov's inner battle between his ideas and his conscience. It's both a crime story and a psychological study of how people justify what they do when pushed to the edge. The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. The novel follows the Karamazov family, an impulsive father and his three very different sons. Dmitri is passionate and reckless, Ivan is intellectual and skeptical, and Alosha is gentle and spiritual. The brothers' conflicting beliefs about faith, reason, and morality mirror the divisions in their family. When tensions over inheritance, love, and resentment rise, the family becomes entangled in a crisis that tests each man's convictions. Around them, other characters, monks, townspeople, and friends, reflect the broader moral struggles of Russian society. The story examines the nature of responsibility, free will, and how people search for truth in a world filled with doubt and temptation. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Wuthering Heights follows two neighboring families living on the Yorkshire moors, the Earnshaws at Wuthering Heights and the Lintons at the Thrushcross Grange. When Mr. Earnshaw brings home an orphan boy named Heathcliff, his arrival changes both households. Growing up, Heathcliff forms an intense bond with Earnshaw's daughter, Catherine, but class differences and pride drive them apart. The consequences of that separation spread across generations, affecting both families through conflict, revenge, and loyalty. The novel's structure alternates between past and present, showing how choices made long ago shape the lives of those who follow. Ulysses by James Joyce. Ulysses takes place over a single day in Dublin, June 16, 1904. It follows three main characters: Leopold Bloom, a Jewish advertising salesman, Stefan Daedalus, a young teacher and writer, and Molly Bloom, Leopold's wife. Each chapter tracks their movements through the city, from workplaces to pubs, from quiet streets to crowded gatherings, capturing their thoughts, memories, and experience in stream of consciousness style. The novel mirrors the structure of Homer's Odyssey, turning ordinary events into a kind of modern epic. Through its shifting perspectives, Ulysses explores themes of identity, family, art, and what it means to find meaning in daily life. Many of these books are required reading at colleges, universities, and high schools around the world. If you haven't read some of them yet, this is the perfect opportunity to get them for free without any digital rights attached and add them to your collection. That way they'll be waiting for you when you feel like pulling one out on a snowy winter night. This is Ofori, the digital reader. Keep reading.